Hi you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for liking, subscribing, being here, being you. Be the best you. There's only one of you here. Thanks for being a part of my dream and my journey, and as always, thank you for sharing your time with me and for watching this video, any of my videos. Thank you for being here.
Let me say this. If you mind my personal business, I don't care who you are, I strongly recommend you mind your business.
So today I have a quick little book review on this book called The Darkest Child by Delores Phillips, right? Yes. So my mama gave me this book, right? She was like, I got a book for you to read. Came downstairs, this was the book. I read the title, I said, Looked at my mom. I said, The Darkest Child, what's that about? Because I am your darkest child. And she was like, I know. Read the book. So fun quick little story time, I guess. I don't know. But one thing about my mama, she do know her kids a little bit. I will say that. Because I loved, okay, it's kind of bittersweet because this was a very good book. How it was written is amazing. The storytelling is amazing. Every single time I was reading this book, immediately painting pictures in my head, immediately got the scene, immediately got how everybody is, immediately the picture is there. I love that. I love a book like that because that's the point of reading books. You feel me? Especially nonfiction. Wait, no, fiction. You're supposed to be able to paint shit in your head and get to having a movie based on what you're reading, you know? So yeah, how it was written and everything, I loved, but it was very, very, very emotional, and I'm gonna get into why, but it was a very emotional book. So many times my heart just went out to the characters in this book because it was freaking crazy. So let's get right into it. This book is taking place in 1958 in Packersfield, Georgia. So obviously this is about a black family that is growing up in Georgia during Jim Crow. So obviously they had racism in here. Somebody did end up getting beaten and lynched, unfortunately. But it's basically about this girl named Tangi May, and she has like 7 to 8 other siblings because her mama is a whore. Okay, her mama is mentally ill and a whore, and her mama just has all these kids because her mama be whoring for money, basically, you know. And it gets sad because she ends up having her daughters whore for money. And then as one of her daughters is whoring for money, she gets pregnant. And then she ends up having a abortion with the wire hanger like they used to have abortions back then. It was so sad. My heart, I was like, and the daughter almost died because she was bleeding out. I was like, all because your mama. You know, and the thing with parents is parents really don't know no better than what they wasn't taught or whatever, you know. So like parents really don't be knowing no better, but like, damn, girl, damn. So yeah, Tangi May is basically telling these stories during this time of what is going on within her house and obviously her home and her thing and everything. The thing about Tangi May though is that she is very smart. She loves to learn, she loves to go to school, and she loves to read. So she made it, she actually graduated high school, but in the beginning of this book, I think she was only like a sophomore or a junior or something like that. And she was basically wanting to go back to school, but her mama was like, you're not going back to school, like you're going to get a job because we need money in this house, and you're going to get a job and you're going to help us and give me your money, which was another thing too. All the money that her kids were making, even her sons, they were working as, you know, painters, doing projects and stuff like that. She took their money. Everybody's money was hers, and she would mainly use it for herself, but of course she would feed them and take care of the household as well. But her kids, remember, this is in the South. I don't know if you guys really know how a lot of black communities' living conditions were, especially in the South during Jim Crow and before, but the houses were not up to par. The schools were not up to par. I say that to say that these kids were sleeping on cots on the floor. with a couple of blankets. They didn't really have windows. They had newspaper up as windows. They didn't have no heat, no AC. So they would use like the stove, I think she said, or like put coal into the stove or something like that to generate heat in the house. They didn't have lights, so they had a kerosene lamp. And they didn't have like ice and stuff. They just had a block of ice. They didn't have washing machines, so her and her sister would go outside and literally be washing, whether it was rain, cold outside. Like, you know, they didn't have clothes. They didn't have shoes. I think even though this book was written as fiction, this was really a lot of people's lives and a lot of her ancestors' lives. Which just made me even more emotional, because it's just like our ancestors did not deserve that. One thing that was really pointed out to me within this book, within reading it, was the fact that this little girl, her mom worked as a maid as well. So if you don't know, back then our ancestors, our mothers and stuff, were working as maids. Okay, remember, these white people, their children, black women were taking care of. Black women were breastfeeding. Black women was doing the discipline, you feel me? Black women was taking care of their kids, okay? And they was taking care and cleaning the home. So her mama was doing that as well. But once again, her mama had 8 kids. 8, 9 kids, like. So, in the beginning of this book, her mama is also pregnant too with a baby. And yeah, she ends up killing the baby, throwing it over the porch. There's that. But back to what really caught me was the fact that she says that she was standing in somebody's home, like who her mom was working for, and that was like the first time she has seen wealth. And that just reminded me of like how our ancestors really used to be in these people's homes, and like how they would see this wealth. They're in the wealth, and somehow, some way, we were still convinced that we could not have that. How can I not have it and I'm standing in it? Sure, I'm your worker or whatever, but obviously I can have it. I'm here. I might not be paying the bills up in here, but I'm here. You know, it's kind of crazy that our ancestors would be in these homes seeing all this wealth and all this money and all that stuff. And nowadays, or even during those times, you have a lot of people who didn't see that at all. Like, it's kind of crazy. Me personally, I have a strong belief that we are the wealthiest. Money or not. Black people, we are the wealthiest. Sorry. Not sorry, actually. For real, for real. But just kind of crazy how like we're doing all this work for them and stuff, and we can't even see, or once again, they brainwashed us that we couldn't see or have this wealth. Whole time, you have this because of me. Don't get this game fucked up. But back to the book. That just shook out to me, because that was also a lot of people's lives. Another thing within this book is that the mother is very, 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 very abusive. She's hitting her kids. She got a whole bunch of tricks up her sleeve, to be honest. Every time it was always something. And then it got to the point where one of the men that they unfortunately was at the whorehouse with, the farmhouse, ended up beating Tangi really, really, really bad, because Tangi, once again, she's smart. So sometimes, and she had a mouth on her, so obviously that would get her in trouble sometimes. Oh, and it's also called the darkest child because she is the darkest child. Her mama is this light-skinned woman who passes as white, and because her mama had kids with all these different men, all her kids came out different. Some of them were light. She had a son that could pass as a white man, but it's always, you know, when they be known when they're black up in there. But yeah, so she had, even though the light-skinned kids could pass as white, obviously everybody knew that they were Negroes. And then she had, obviously, brown skin, but then she had, like, dark-skinned kids. So she was one of the darkest ones. I think her and her sister were the darkest ones. So because they were the darkest one, they were also the most hated and kind of the most, like, go do what you want to do, like, get the fuck out of my face, like. And the mom was also verbally abusive, so she was calling them dumb. She had a child, one of the sisters was deaf, they had to sign to her. And you know what else that showed me? That how smart humans are, because even though sign language wasn't really readily available to them back then, like, they still came up with their own signs. One of the sisters still taught her how to read. So I was like, wow, like, humans, we are so smart. So yeah, but she would call her kids dumb. She would tell her, like, Tangi, you so dark, like, don't no man ever want you. But what also like tied to my heart is the fact that all of these kids in here, all they ever wanted really was love from their mom. By not having love from their mom, obviously they are looking for it in outside places. So some of them are leaving. Some of them, once they turn 18, they out. They go and marry somebody. One of the sisters, she ended up, they call it being courted, but she ended up getting married to a guy and had 2 of his kids. You know, they all wanted a way out. One of her sons like ended up marrying a girl, so he was out. And every time these kids was leaving and stuff, the mama felt like, oh my god, the world is taking my kids. Who am I without my kids? Like, the mama would literally try to do a spell, take their hair so that they could stay with her forever. Like, yeah, she was unstable. She was dead ass mentally ill. She even went to an insane asylum because she saw somebody get killed, and obviously she wasn't talking and stuff like that. But the mama too was smart. She was very manipulative. Like, she knew what to do. In the beginning, when she's literally in labor, she's telling everybody she's dying. Girl, you ain't dying. You just sat up there, laid on your back, and now the price is here. Okay, so yeah. Also, too, in the book, they do talk about trying to come together to protest or make change, because obviously they have the hand-me-down school, the hand-me-down books, the hand-me-down things from the white people. And even in their neighborhood, like, white people and stuff worked there, but they hated, obviously they hated the Negroes. We know this already. You know, they would read their mail that they was trying to send out. They wouldn't they wouldn't send some of the mail out. Obviously somebody did get killed. Let's see what else. They also, there was this fair for all the black people, obviously, because you know they have the whites only and all that bullshit. So they had a fair. They came and ambushed their fair, started shooting and shit like that. Ain't nobody died, thankfully, but you know, scare tactics. You know what the white man, the colonizer, has to do. Scare tactics and all that stuff. Even that happened as well. But it got to the point where, like, low-key, everybody was fed up and everybody just gave up. And I'm so happy because at the end of the book, she ends up graduating high school, and she takes her younger sister, and they both end up leaving. So thankfully she got out. But this book, honey, this was a 10 out of 10 read. I would tell anybody to read this book. Once again, it is fiction, but this was also somebody's real life. I'm sure of it. But it has so many different, like, twists and turns. And just when you think it was at the worst, no. It wasn't. You still got a lot more, you know? So yeah, this was a very good book. I'm actually happy that my mom gave me it to read. Once again, I am Black Power all the way. I literally call myself a form of an activist. I have a lot of channels on here where I'm talking about Black history, Black people taking a stand and not playing with these white folks. So but yeah, my mama definitely knew I was gonna like this book. I love this book. I always love, even though our history is emotional and our history does have a lot of trauma, a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, it's important that we never forget it. They are trying to make us forget it, but it's important that we never forget it, that we never stop telling these stories, and that our children and the youth know. Because although there is a lot of pain and hurt, look at how far we've come. Okay? And although there was a lot of pain and hurt, this is exactly why we should not be as forgiving. We should forgive, but we also need to be standing up, you know? Balance, baby. So yeah, I feel like this is just a very important novel. Honestly, this should kind of be read in schools. This is books like this that I wanted to read in school. Like, yes, make me do an excerpt on this. Like, so yeah, even though this is fiction, I do consider this a history book. I'm not gonna lie, this is definitely real life. And it also showed me that how much generational trauma and curses is passed down, because obviously in this book with the mama, it does give you a little history about her mom and how her mom, ever since she was pregnant with her, she called her the devil. So I mean, how far was that gonna go? Then she got pregnant at 13, her mama kicked her out. You know, it's like, how far was this supposed to go? But this is part of generational curses, generational trauma, generational healing, you know. A lot of times when I was younger and I used to get spanked, or I used to just always hear about spankings, people getting switches, I used to read about black history and just how, you know, like a lot of black families, like beatings and stuff is normal, and especially back then, beating to almost near death was normalized. You know, it was still like, it don't matter, you're going home to your mother or your father. You know, beating on women was way more normalized. So, but that's part of that generational trauma, you know, where we just be like, whatever, suck it up, like. But it's like, hold on now, this is actually wrong, and we don't have to live life like this, you know. So it was kind of curious to see if the siblings broke that. Some of them did and some of them did not, which always happens in families. But some of them did, some of them did not. One of her sons literally was beating on his wife too. I'm like, damn, did you not learn nothing from your own mama? Oh my God. But that is generational trauma. It just continues to repeat till somebody is strong enough to I'm sorry, y'all, my brain just like like my ancestors are like, yes, they're like rooting for everything I'm saying. But yeah, it continues until somebody picks something different and something new. So yeah, great read though. Once again, the storytelling is amazing, and it looks like a pretty big book, but you will get through it. I literally did not want to put it down. I was like, oh my God, I gotta see what's happening, because so much was going on. So I think this also just kind of shows how a lot of our potential can get shut down because, or you know, it's important to let your trauma and stuff make or break you. She let it, like, it's crazy because all of these kids in their own way have strength, but her especially, like, even though her mama was whoring her out and told her she had to do this and that, she still made it a priority to go to school, even when she didn't want to, even when she wanted to die. Like, she was like, she still believed in God, she still believed in herself, she still believed like something else has to be out there. And I think that's just super important, because a lot of people, our potential kind of gets wasted and taken away from us, our innocence gets taken away from us, and a lot of people, like we're seeing with our peers, like, don't recover from things and don't have the chance to like actually think bigger and outside of what they're shown. You know, a lot of people are products of their environment, and a lot of people do continue or feel like, I'm never gonna be nothing, and look at everything that has happened to me, you know. But it's important for us to challenge that and continue going and really see our potential. But it is sad that a lot of people's potential is gone just because of how parents and the people that are closest to us treat us. You know, it sucks. It sucks. So yeah, great read, but very emotional. Yeah, if you want to read this book, go read it, go try it. And to end this video off, I'm gonna say library cards are free. So you can go to the library for free, get a library card, and read books. It is very important that we read books. Whatever you like to read, don't be picky, you feel me? Read what you want to read. Reading is so important for your brain, it's so important for your vocabulary. Read books, never stop reading, for real. Okay, I'm tired of y'all being stupid, and y'all are stupid all because you just don't read. Oh, I just spit. That's how you know the message getting out, okay? When you start spitting and shit. But yes, read books, okay? You are not an idiot. Read books and learn about yourself and learn about history, and, you know, have fun. Read. It's free. Go to your local library. They will help you. And our libraries have so much stuff. That's another thing too. They were trying to tear down these libraries, I heard, when Trump was elected last year or something. That cannot happen as well. Kids need to be reading books, and the fact that this is a free resource, we have to take full advantage of it, okay? Go to your libraries, and they have so much other stuff. Tutoring, even like arts and crafts stuff. If you just want to go learn to sew or some shit, you want to paint, they have all types of stuff. Pottery, public speak, like they have all types of stuff. You could have meetings there for your community and stuff like that. Food drives, all types of shit. Figure out what your local library has for you and take advantage of it and continue to spread it out, okay? I am so thankful my parents have always instilled that in me, because for real, it's free. Go read. What the fuck? Make that a hobby. 2026, make that a hobby, okay? So yeah, Thank you guys for watching this video. If you have read this book, let me know your thoughts on the book. If you have any questions, leave them. I will answer them. You are welcome and safe here to say whatever you want. And yeah, let's kiki about the book. Oh, and also drop other book recommendations for me and everybody else. I love you guys. Continue being safe and warm outside. It has been snowing where I am at the time that I'm recording. So beautiful. I love snow. It's so beautiful to me. So yeah, but I hope you guys are staying warm and safe and responsible and just continuing to have fun and being your own best self and give your best to every day. Love you guys. Bye.